All right, you guys, welcome back. It's Sunday, so today we will be talking about my top tips for fat loss. Tip number 1, get enough sleep. I cannot preach this enough. There are so many people who underestimate sleep. Well, if you're not sleeping, you're more likely to go for high fat, high sugar foods because you need energy. You're tired. If you are sleeping, you're not eating. And therefore, it's easier to create a calorie deficit. Most of us will stay up at night watching TV instead of actually listening to our bodies and going to sleep. So try to prioritize at least 8 hours of sleep. Also, hunger hormone regulation, that ghrelin, that is going to have a much more intense impact on you. You are going to be hungry. Your body is screaming for energy and food if you're not sleeping enough. If you sleep enough, it's much easier to just relax and eat at normal meals and just not be craving those crazy high fat, high sugar foods. Tip number 2, drink plenty of water. There is no magic special thing about water detoxing you and making you lose fat. No. It's actually about the fact that it's going to keep you full. Any type of mechanical expansion on your stomach by like volume eating, fluids, things like that, it's going to send that signal to the brain that you are full. So drinking plenty of fluids, water primarily, but any type of low calorie, no calorie fluid is going to be great for keeping you fuller for longer. Eating at regular meal times, that's tip number 3. So the reason I say that, yes, we've probably talked about in a previous video, or at least on my Instagram, that meal timings isn't special in some sort of way. But if you are eating at regular meal times, you're less likely to be starving. So therefore, you're not going to overconsume. You're not going to binge eat. It's much easier to create a calorie deficit and actually stay in a calorie deficit. So I would advise or recommend that you would eat every 3 to 4 hours, because usually at that time you are ready for your next meal or feeding, whatever you want to call it. So eating at regular meal times can be a huge tip when you're trying to create fat loss and trying to actually stay on track, not winding up binging and things like that. What else? Next tip, I think that's number 4, is eating protein feedings. Protein with all of your meals and snacks, like I just advised, every 3 to 4 hours. Protein helps with satiety, so it's going to keep you fuller longer and less bingy, less cravings. So that's going to be just great if you're trying to create fat loss, which you're already going to likely be hungry if you're in a calorie deficit, but you can make it less hard on yourself if you are including those protein feedings, including volume foods, which will make you feel fuller for longer. So that's all the concepts that will help you create a deficit and actually stick to it. And that leads to my final fat loss tip. You guessed it. Create a calorie deficit. How you decide to do that, whether it's through intake or through calorie expenditure, exercise, typically in the form of cardio, that is going to be the be-all, end-all. These other tips, the sleep, eating at regular meal times, protein, drinking enough fluids, these are just tips that will make it easier. But the be-all, end-all, as we already have discussed, is calories in, calories out, creating that calorie deficit for fat or weight loss, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, typically, we want to preserve muscle, so we're looking for fat loss. So, my top tips: get enough sleep, drink enough water, eat at regular meal times, get protein feedings in, recommended every 3 to 4 hours, and create a calorie deficit. If you like this content, like this video, subscribe to my channel. Reach out to me at my Instagram, boho_nutrition. I am happy to take questions. If there's anything you'd like me to talk about on a video, I am happy to do that. I will be releasing videos every Sunday. All right, you guys, have a great week.